You think of yourself as a leader, but why should anyone trust you? Coming up on today's edition of Raising the Bar. Let's talk about trust, shall we? So, one of the things that modern leaders need to understand is that trust is not a given. It doesn't come just because you have a title and a position. And a lot of new managers and leaders don't really concern themselves too much about uh, whether people trust them or not because they're leveraging their title and authority to get things done. But the practical reality is leadership is about influence, and influence is all about building trust. And so, this is why every leader should be concerned about learning and enhancing their ability to build trust. According to Dennis and Michelle Reyna, there are three C's of trust that we should all be concerned about. There's trust of character, trust of communication, and trust of capability. Now, these three things are not equal and have different impact on different people that you're going to be interacting with. Trust of character, I look at that as table stakes. Do you do what you say you're going to do? Are you a high character individual? Do you operate and act with integrity as a leader? Communication, do you seek to be authentic and transparent in your communications and make sure that people understand, agree, and align with you as the standard act of practice when you are communicating to others? And lastly, but certainly not least, capability. Do you actually possess the ability, experience, perspectives to lead an organization forward? This is why the three C's are so important and why I love the book, Trust and Betrayal in the Workplace. Check it out if you haven't actually gotten it yet. So, from the three C's of trust, we get into the trust equation. There's actually a mathematical formula for building trust. And that formula is credibility plus reliability plus professional intimacy divided by self orientation. Once again, credibility plus reliability plus professional intimacy divided by self orientation. So, the trust building leader needs to be concerned with and have strategies for demonstrating and maintaining and enhancing their credibility, demonstrating, maintaining, and enhancing their reliability, and demonstrating, maintaining, and enhancing the professional relationships while at the same time lowering their self orientation so that they actually are serving and supporting those in their charge. This is why servant leadership is the ideal style for modern leaders because servant leaders are naturally low self oriented, which allows them to lean into the numerator aspects of the trust formula, the credibility, the reliability, and the professional intimacy. But how do we define credibility? Well, credibility is a combination of your level of competence, your level of consistency, your level of authenticity, your level of respectfulness, and your level of accountability. Think about those words: competence, consistency, authenticity, respectfulness, and accountability. All those things come together to make you more credible. Competency is basically knowing what you're supposed to do and knowing how to do it. Consistency is doing it at a high level all the time. Authenticity is doing it as your natural self, leveraging your natural talents for the good of the organization. Respectfulness is doing it in a way that supports and serves everyone in the team, not dominates and demeans people in your organization. And accountability basically means that you can be held to account. You do what you say you're going to do when you say you're going to do it. Now let's get into reliability. How is reliability different than credibility? Well, reliability fundamentally involves managing commitments, communicating proactively, finishing what we start, and respecting time. So managing commitments is a link to accountability we talked about in the credibility section, but you want to make sure that you're prioritizing and you're understanding what's on your plate so you can effectively manage your commitments and be reliable, be someone who can be counted upon to deliver on deadlines and things of that nature. When it comes to communicating proactively, identifying issues and barriers before they become too big of problems, not being reactive and indicating these things after they become huge issues. So you want to anticipate and communicate proactively if there's going to be anything that gets in the way of your reliability, you delivering on time and as expected. Finishing what you start. This is so fundamental. So many of us start things but don't finish things. You want to be known as someone who finishes. And as a leader, you want to be known as someone who can get the team across the finish line to finish and complete whatever the mission is that you're being tasked with doing at any given time. Lastly, respecting time. As a leader, do you respect the time of your people? Do you plan meetings on their calendars, regardless of what they already have scheduled for a given time slot? Is your time more valuable than your people's time? People really will not find you reliable if you consistently intervene or interlude or bump things off their calendar in favor of things you feel are more important to you. So that's reliability. And last but certainly not least, in the numerator aspect of the trust equation, is professional intimacy. Professional intimacy is a combination or the ability to find common ground with others, keep things simple, make interactions enjoyable, be inspirational, and act with integrity. So you see this thread of integrity coming through: credibility, reliability, and professional intimacy. That's that trust of character that I talked about during the 3C's conversation. So find common ground. We all like to meet people or interact with people where we have some kind of commonality, whether that be sports affiliation or where we went to university or where we grew up or shared experiences in terms of travel, shared food, things, shared interests, anything like that allows us to find common ground and bond with those around us and in our charge. Keeping things simple, making the main thing the main thing. That allows people to be focused, allows them to commit to whatever the mission is, and they're going to appreciate the relationship you have with them because you do keep things simple. Making interactions enjoyable. Now, as a manager, as a leader, as a coach, not every interaction is designed to be enjoyable, but by maintaining a positive attitude and by strategically thinking about making a positive impact on others, you can make your interactions far more enjoyable than not. And be inspirational. Being inspirational is about tapping into the sense of purpose, tapping into talent, tapping into possibility. When you do those things, people will look at you and see you as someone who is inspiring, inspired, and someone to be followed. And so this is really where that professional intimacy, that closeness begins to deliver results for you because people will become inspired to follow you. And lastly, we mentioned before, I'll say it again, acting with integrity. So basically being someone who does what they say they're going to do, who walks the talk. These are all aspects of making sure you can maintain and enhance professional intimacy. Still, no matter how much credibility, reliability, and professional intimacy you possess, it can all be undermined by your degree of self-orientation. And self-orientation is driven by ego needs. So you have to beware the ego when it comes to leading. If you chose to become a manager or organizational leader because of a gap in yourself that has not been filled, like the need to dominate and rule or oversee over others, you are in leadership for the complete wrong reasons. Leadership and modern leadership is about serving and supporting those in your charge, developing, coaching, elevating everyone around you so that you can deliver on your organization's purpose. That's what leadership honestly is about. And because of that, self-orientation has no space or place in modern day leadership. So how do we fill in the ego so we don't need to actually have to lord over and dominate others in our charge? Well, this comes down to what I call personal effectiveness, making sure you're taking care of yourself as an individual so that you don't feel the need to have to get your energy from dominating other people. And this comes down to your proactiveness in your life, your degree of whether you can focus on your sphere of control, not your sphere of concern, your ability to actually have high performance habits, which means getting enough sleep, drinking enough water, eating correctly, having a mindfulness practice, maintaining an attitude of gratitude as much as possible, and holding yourself accountable to the things you commit to yourself. This allows you to operate at a surplus and therefore not require these things in your leadership practice. And so when you can eliminate the ego, you really begin to enhance trust. People will literally follow you to the end of the earth because they know that it's not about following you, it's about we're all working towards the mission. So beware the ego. So today we've discussed that leadership is about influence, and influence requires trust. And trust requires credibility, reliability, professional intimacy, and for you to lower your self orientation. So, my challenge to you leaders out there watching this program, whenever you're watching it, is to think about and have strategies to intentionally elevate your credibility, your reliability, and your professional intimacy, and have equally powerful strategies to begin to fill in your ego needs so you can lower your self orientation and lead your people to the promised land. This has been Omar L. Harris, Raising the Bar. See you soon.